and welcome to today's episode. We are going to go through access assessment, and so we have our access series here, and the best way we can do that is coming over to our femoral workflow on the left-hand side and opening the sagittal view so that we can see our descending aorta and ascending aorta as well. This is the best place to see if there's anything in there like an aneurysm or stents or dissections, because there's nowhere else in the workflow that you're really going to pick these things up. I then just click in the descending aorta and let it segment it for me. And you can see with a really good contrast CT like this one, it will do it quite well for you. However, if there is anything else or a prosthesis that's going to affect it, I'll cover that in a later episode. However, I always recommend coming down to less and then remove heart on the right-hand side before adding any other vessels, as this will get rid of most of the extra ones for you and make it very easy for you to go through the workflow. Then you can confirm and go to place some of the markers like it asks you to do on the side. However, it does ask you to put it on underneath the renals, and I would put mine on the ascending aorta so that we get access to all of this anatomy. Then place your two other markers down on the base of the anatomy that's available. So although it's lower than the femoral head, it just gives us access to this part of the CT. Once you click next, it will then ask you to confirm your center lines. So with a good contrast CT like this one, it's very easy. 3Mensio does a very good job of selecting that for you, and make sure you select the opposite side as well for carrying on to confirm to make sure there's no side branches that have been selected. Once you're happy, then you can go through and confirm, and this will take you to this measurement phase. So this is similar to the aortic section where we're just going to take measurements from the renals down, and we're just going to use the two ruler tool, as you can see here, and we're always going to go inside. So this patient has thrombus and some calcium, and always want to find our most limiting factor. This then helps us know what we're going to interact with the patient and the prosthesis that we're going to select, and if that's going to have any implications, if we're going to dislodge anything, or if we're going to open up a dissection. Of course, we would get every single little thing that's in that patient's anatomy, and I do like to come and get a measurement at every time the anatomy branches, so from the abdominal into the iliacs, and in the iliacs into the femorals, and then we come down to our femoral head. So this is going to be our femoral access, and we're looking for the top third of the femoral head. So I'm looking in my angio view down the bottom left, and then we take our measurement. There is a piece of calcium here, so you can continue to work above that to find where it stops. However, there will be ultrasound guided access, so this is just a little bit of a helpful guide. Then coming down on the patient's left side, ensuring that you do the measurements all the way on that side as well. But keeping in mind that you do have a common access point from the abdominal down, so you don't need to do these measurements again on the opposite side there. Once you have done all your measurements, I like to come into my dim background, center this off, and if you want to do any adjusting there, then you can cut around any extra branches and remove it out of the way. Otherwise, proceed. Then you add your images that you've taken all your measurements and just move these around so they're not covering the anatomy. However, they're not also crossing over each other. So you can bring the common ones over, especially if you haven't taken that second one on the patient's right side. Then coming over here to your snake view, this is really helpful. If you use your lateral, then make it a mirror. Then you can also zoom in on your dimmed background and transition this to an LAO 45 and either do it in dimmed and also calcifications. This is really helpful to have the overview of where the calcifications sit for the patient. I hope this was helpful for you. If you do have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below.